Hi, this is Steve Davis. This is the GetRealWealth.com podcast. And normally I have a guest, but something happened today that I want to share with you that really reminded me of something I learned a long time ago. And I saw it actually hurting somebody. And it really comes down to this. We're all imitating someone. You know, we imitate our parents. We may not think we are, but you are because you were raised a certain way. You may be imitating your high school teachers, your professors, and so on. And you have to really be careful who you imitate. Tony Robbins calls it a model. You could call it a mentor. You could call it a coach. We call ourselves coaches up here and consultants. You have to really think deeply first about what you want out of life. You have to know what that is. Then you start looking for somebody to be your mentor or consultant or model or who you're going to imitate. And what happened was a gentleman came to me and he goes, "Look, you're really hard on stocks on your radio show and your podcast. My parents did really well with stocks." I said, "Well, then why are you here?" And the answer was because they don't have out of life what I'm trying to achieve. Then what do you mean they did well? They did well for them, but it's not good enough for you. Okay, I think that's what he meant, but I worry because when you imitate people that don't have out of life what you want, you're probably going to get what they have and nothing more. You've got to model yourself. You've got to imitate people that do have out of life what you want. And it brought me back to age 27 when they came in and cut my pay at my company, and I woke up to corporate America and I realized I didn't want to be in corporate America anymore. I didn't want a job anymore. I had to be my own man. I had to become an entrepreneur. And I started looking around for successful people to imitate because I'd already read Tony Robbins' work. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Simply go out and find someone who's gotten the results from their life that you want and imitate them. And that quote is actually from Andrew Carnegie. But I learned it through Tony Robbins. And I started looking, and I ran into a lot of people who were invested in stocks, and some of them had done well for the last year or so. But I understood that you don't look at the last year or so. You look at the entire time they've been investing in stocks, and you go with the average. Well, they were going with the high, which was the last year or so. And when I asked them what their average was over the last 15 years, one guy was over 20 years, he goes, about 6%, 5%, 4%, whatever it was. I go, "Why are you excited?" I didn't say this out loud because I didn't want to be disrespectful. But in my mind, I'm going, well, if you got 30% last year, but your average is only 5 or 6, that's really same as 5 or 6%. That's not what I wanted. People get delusional when they do well. I'll give you an example. I was on a cruise ship where a friend of mine comes running up to me and she goes, "I just won $6,000. I got all excited. She starts buying people drinks, buying people dinner, and it was a great time. I was really excited for her. Everybody was. But when she went to get off the ship, they stopped her and they go, "You've got a $17,000 bill at the casino you need to pay before you leave." She had actually lost $23,000, made $6,000, and in her delusional state, she thought she had made $6,000. I lost my mind, but it reminded me of people who did well, and we'll say 2020, and they're like, "Oh, this is great. I did 15%, I did 20%, I did 30%. Yeah, but what's your average over the last 15, 20 years? Well, why do they always say 5, 6, 7%? Because over the last 70 years, the stock market has returned an average of 7%. That includes dividends. That's it. That's all you're going to get. Because in 2008, they all lost money. But in 2020, they made a bunch of money. And they're delusional to think that 2020 is how it's going to be every year. Remember, it's not if the stock market's going to crash, it's when. So for me, I take the average. That's what I can expect. When I started interviewing and talking to successful real estate investors, they were all making 20, 30% every year for the last 10, 20 years. Do you see the difference there? Not just the last year, the last 10 or 20 years. So I knew that I wanted that type of rate of return, so I leaned towards real estate. The other reason I chose real estate over stocks was because I wanted cash flow every month that I could spend. You know, people make money in the stock market, they got to sell it, start hacking away at the goose, the principal, and pull it out, pay taxes, and then go spend it. Whereas with my real estate, I get cash flow every month and pay little to no taxes on it. And I can romance my wife, take a vacation, spend time with the kids, whatever I want to do. That was what I wanted. So can you see why I chose to imitate the real estate investors and not the stock people? Then the final reason I chose real estate was because whenever I would talk to people about stocks, they would talk about 30, 40 years from now, I'd be rich. 65, 75. I got no interest in that at all. Because I knew this person had no value for what? Think about it. Their life. If I wait till I'm 65 to have a couple $1,000,000, what's gone? The vast majority of my life. 75? No, I'm not interested in that. See, I wanted to be rich now. I wanted cash flow now. So we're all imitating people in one way or another. We're all modeling, trying to be successful. Make sure that the person you're imitating, make sure that the person you're modeling has out of life what you're trying to achieve, and ignore everybody else. They can't help you. You've got to have someone on your team that is exactly where you want to be if you want to get there in the most timely and efficient way possible. So remember again, you're imitating somebody. Do they have out of life what you're trying to achieve? If they don't, go find another mentor that does, because that made all the difference for me. You know, I started at 27. By age 30, I was able to quit work permanently. Do you think that would have ever happened in the stock market? Only one way, pure luck. Pure luck. Okay, that's really as much as I wanted to say. I really appreciate you watching. Stay positive. I hope this is encouraging and not harmful in any way, because I don't mean to put down stocks or people who invest in stocks. Just understand what you're getting. That vehicle is not there to build wealth. It's not there to make you rich. It's there to keep up with inflation. That's why the rate of return is only about 7% annually. Real estate is there to make you rich. That's why my average of the last 20 years has probably been 20+% rate of return, with some years at 100 and never less than 10 or 15. All right. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.